Thank you, Kristen. Really excited to be here. And before I get started, I think we should give a round of applause to Kristen, who's been working so hard all day. Keynote, MC, presenter, amazing. So happy this is the last presentation in this track, the lastest, the bestest, we hope. Yes, I'm Sanyu, I manage developer onboarding, and this presentation is about the Twitch extension review process, the missing manual. And what's that all about? So we've talked today a lot about all the extensions that have been created over the past year and are live in the store. I say over 300. It's now 380. But that kind of belies what goes on with my team. We actually review your extensions. And so even though there are 380 in the store, my team has actually reviewed over 2,000 extension reviews over the year. And we've seen about 29% get approved on the first try. And we feel that we can do a lot better than that. How many out here are looking to submit an extension this year? Hopefully after all the content today, we have lots of you. We want you guys to come in and submit your extensions for review. And if you can get through on the first try, that's less extension reviews for my team, and it's also faster review cycles for you. So getting that percentage up means the purpose of the talk today is really helping all of you out there get your extension and go from this. Hi, Sanyu. Your extension has not passed review. Here are a few reasons why. To this, congratulations, Sanyu, your extension has been approved. So how are we going to do that? So I'm going to take you on a walk through the extension lifecycle. We're going to take a look at the 4 facets of what my team's actually looking at when we review your extension. What are we actually checking for? I'm going to take you with that base through the top 10 reasons why we're finding developers are failing the review process. And I'm going to leave you with some final tips and tricks. And hopefully that's all going to help you get through your extensions this year on the first try. So I'm going to kick things off with a walk through the extension lifecycle. Basically how your extension gets from created to live in the store. The first step you've heard today is, of course, getting over to dev.twitch.tv. And you'll have to fill out this form once you click on Create an Extension. That's going to create your record, and you're going to move from being creation to test. There are actually 2 test phases, test and hosted test. The first one, test, is where you're going to be developing and testing your extension on your local systems. And it's here that you can upload your discovery assets for the store, like images, category, your description. Once you feel comfortable testing on your local environment, you're going to move to hosted test. And that's a point where you're going to upload your code up to the Twitch CDN. And now you get to test on a more close to prod environment. For the purposes of this diagram, we've collapsed those two phases, but you're going to see in the top 10 extension failure reasons that there is actually an issue that you can run into if you do one thing in one state other than the other. So hold on for that. So you have created your extension, you have uploaded all of your assets to the store, and you fully tested your extension. Now is the time that you're going to submit your extension to my team for review. There are 2 fields that are really important that my team finds really helpful. A URL to your review details, your channel that we're actually going to use to test your extension, and information on how best to test your extension. If this is your first time submitting, how should we walk through your extension? If this is your 4th or 5th or 10th time, your 10th version, a change log of what exactly you've changed since the last time that you've been approved, super helpful for my team. And with that, my team is going to take all this info, and we're going to review your extension across these 4 vectors: metadata, policy, functional, and code reviews. If your extension does not pass review, there is no failed state per se. We are simply going to move your extension back into one of the test states. And you're going to receive an email from us detailing what you need to do to fix your extension. Once you've made all the changes you need to, really simple, you just go simply back into the submit for review process, and my team is going to review it again. If everything has been corrected, my team is going to move your extension into the approved state, and you are going to receive that glorious of emails. Your extension has been reviewed and approved. Congratulations. The important thing to note here is that at this point, your extension is not live, but it's ready to go live at the time of your choosing. So the timing of that is up to you. To go live, you need to move your extension from approved to released, and at that point, your extension is now live for broadcasters to use. Please don't forget that step, or all of your hard work will be for naught. So now that we're on the same page with the extension lifecycle, we can dive deeper into the extension review process. What actually happened behind the curtain with my team when you submit it for review? So let's take a look at each of these different facets in turn. Metadata review. During this, my team is looking at all of the assets that you are submitting that are going to be available to broadcasters in the extension store. So your extension title, your description, your icon and discovery images, even your extension category. We're looking for any text to be clear and complete, and for your images to all be submitted together. Policy is a much deeper check, and because your extension is going to be run on a broadcaster's Twitch channel, and it's going to be hosted from the Twitch CDN, your extension is essentially an extension of Twitch. And it's meant to enhance a broadcaster and viewer's experience in a safe way. So we have a lot of policies that are important for you to be aware of and for you to read to be a really good citizen developer on Twitch. We have extension-specific policies. We also have the General Developer Agreement. We have the Twitch Terms of Service, and we have our Twitch Community Guidelines. If you want to use bits in your extensions, we also have guidelines governing those, and the bits acceptable use policy. And I know this is a lot of policies to know and read, but that's why you're here, to hear some kind of tips and tricks about that. And when you see in the top 10 failure reasons, most developers are failing for the same thing, so hopefully we can save you some time with the most common ones. Next up for my team is functional review. We are going to take your extension, and we are going to try to install and configure it on a channel, the one that you provided, just like a broadcaster would. Then we're going to attempt to use it, just like a viewer would, and make sure that everything is working as advertised in your description. Please make sure in this case that your extension is ready to go, your backend is stood up, your review channel is ready and live, and we'll be able to test your extension in the most efficient way. Last up is code review. Yes, we actually look at your code. And what are we looking for? Pretty much anything that you could do on your backend that could make changes to your front-end code without going through the review process again. These are the things that my team, those are red flags that we're looking for. So eval statements, code obfuscation. We're also looking for general coding errors that we can help you if things aren't functioning on your extension. And we'll provide an email back to you with detailed instructions on what the problems are. So as you can see from the review process, there are a number of places where you developers are possibly getting tripped up. But luckily, there are 10 that we are finding most common. And we're hoping to make all of you developers more aware of these so that in the future, if you can get past these without going through the review cycle, we're going to see first-time review percentages go up higher and higher this year. So without further ado, perfect sound, perfect loudness. Thank you. It was really loud before. Number one, review channel not live. This is a functional failure for extensions that are video overlays. And so we actually need the video to be playing for us to test your extension. It's also a functional fail for mobile or panel extensions if you need game integration or additional software. We just can't test it. That said, I would say my team has been pretty liberal about failing extensions for review channels not being live all year. And we've heard from the community that it's a real pain point to have to stand up the channel and have it streaming while you're waiting for my team to approve it. So definitely super excited to announce today we are looking at working on processes to reduce this requirement as much as possible. If you submitted your extension even in the past week, you may have noticed, oh, I forgot to make sure that my review channel was live. We may have approved it anyway. We are basically standing up some review channels internally, and we are going to immediately, once you submit for review, try and test your extension on one of our internal review channels. If it passes, great. If not, we'll test it on the review channel that you've provided. And as it's an experiment, at Twitch, we experiment to decide. We'll be working to investigate more ways so we can include more extensions such that you don't have to provide a review channel and we can do it ourselves. The second most prolific failure reason is missing metadata. This is unfortunately an issue on us. It's on our dev site UX. There is a bug where if you are in hosted test and you choose to make a change to your category or description or your images, and you move your extension into under review, those changes do not get bundled up into your review submission. We are aware of this, and we are working really hard to make changes to fix this in the coming months. In the meantime, we've added a notification banner as you move to submit your extension for review to remind you that if you uploaded any assets while in hosted test, that they may not be carried over. You guys can fix this yourselves really quickly. All you need to do is move your extension back into test, re-upload the assets, and then move back through into under review. And you can fix this issue without even going through a review cycle with us. Number 3 is a simple one. Some of you are forgetting to include actual HTML, JS, and CSS files. They're present in your manifest, but you actually don't submit them to the Twitch CDN. The most common one is a Twitch extension helper, which is actually required for your extension to work on the Twitch CDN. So please, 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 before you submit, take a look at your manifest, take a look at the files that you're uploading, and make sure that they match. Number 4, obfuscation, a really tough one. Our general policy over the past year has been that minification is okay, but obfuscation is not, because we do actually look at your code in a human-readable form. In trying to maintain this policy, we've definitely encountered more and more instances where code is so heavily and aggressively minified, we actually can't read it to figure out what it does. And we found it more and more challenging. So I'm actually really happy to announce that we are launching a new obfuscation policy to allow you to submit obfuscated code. We have defined some libraries and settings that we're able to support. And basically, you just go about your business as you were before and submit your extension for review in its obfuscated form. My team is going to see that, and we are going to trigger off a process where on the side, we're going to reach out to you and get a human-readable version of your code for us to review. Once we feel comfortable with that, we will go ahead and approve your extension, and it is your obfuscated version that will go live in the store for broadcasters. Somebody's happy? That's good. Number 5, insufficient description. So it seems simple enough. I think we've talked about it a lot today. But I would really encourage you all to take a look, a long and hard look at your descriptions and what you're providing for broadcasters to see. Flashy titles are great, but your description is the real element where the broadcaster is going to see and understand what does your extension actually do. And it's going to help them decide whether or not they're going to install your extension. So we're not looking for War and Peace here, but we are looking for you to have a description that is complete. and it should describe exactly what your extension does in a concise way. So for example, if when you create your extension, you say, hey, my extension uses chat, and you check that checkbox, and you say, my extension uses bits, and you check that checkbox, but you have no information within your description on how you're using those, we would consider that a fail for insufficient description. Number 6, another simple one, fail to load. If we can't review it, we cannot approve it. So please, 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 test your extension before you submit it. Make sure your backend is stood up. We provide a way for you to whitelist accounts for pre-release testing. Use that. That's your best friend in making sure your extension works in lots of different channels. I'm going to add a little side note here, just because we've seen developers get tripped up with this. If you want to update your broadcaster whitelist, please remember that you need to resubmit your extension for review, or those changes won't take place. So just an FYI here. Number 7, unauthorized usage of Twitch IP. As I mentioned, your extension is an extension of Twitch, but it's not Twitch itself. So please make sure not to reference to any Twitch branding. That includes assets like the Twitch glitch. I know it's cute, but please don't use it in your extension. You definitely heard in your keynote today that we do have coming a new Twitch Emotes API that will be available for extensions. And so please stay tuned for that. In the meantime, this is a policy. Number 8, audio. 2 important aspects here. Your extension can include audio, but 1, it must be off by default, and 2, it must provide a way for the viewer to adjust the volume. If you can follow these 2 guidelines, you're going to make my review team very, very happy. Number 9 is offsite links to ads or non-Twitch functionality. This is a policy failure. Extensions are really meant to enhance the experience of broadcasters and viewers on Twitch itself. Extensions are not meant to be redirectors to your product or service from Twitch. So, enough said? Enough said. And number 10, last but not least, is extensions that violate bits in extension usage policies. This is pretty new policies we put out earlier this year. At its essence, you should not be looking to use bits and extensions to make real monetary purchases or donations. They should be used to do fun things on the platform between viewers and broadcasters in exchange for bits. I definitely understand that a lot of the confusion over bits and extension policies is really due to the fact that we didn't make the policies very clear to begin with. So, happy to announce that as of yesterday, we have new bits and extension policies written up on the dev portal. And we have new policies in general as well. So please go to dev.twitch.tv. We look to make the policies more concise and clear, provide really good examples so you understand what you can do and what you can't do. That said, policy is always going to be a work in progress. And if you still have questions, please come talk to me, come talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. And you guys are the ones with all the ideas, and you're bringing all the innovation to the platform. There's so many things that you're thinking of that we haven't thought about. So please come to us and tell us, what is it you want to do? Like, maybe there's a way we can find a way to put it into policy so it's going to work. So that's the top 10. And avoiding these pitfalls will hopefully help all of you when you're submitting your extensions this year and get them approved the first time. Final tips: help us help you. Provide clear descriptions and detailed testing instructions. Test, test, and test some more. Use account whitelisting, and really test your extension before you submit it. 3 is thinking about scale. What would happen if a really big broadcaster installed your extension? What would happen if a really small broadcaster installed your extension? You should have a great experience for both. And last, please do reach out for help or advice or to give us feedback. We have the Twitch developer forums. We also have the Twitch dev servers. And as of last week, we also have a Contact Us form where you can reach out to us to discuss any issues you might have with your submission. And you can find all of these support channels on dev.twitch.tv/support. So that's it from me. Happy to take questions.